Hello everyone, this is Diesel D199 speaking, and today we're going to be taking a look behind the scenes of Tomica Thomas and Friends Short 35, Full Dream Ahead. And so in this video I'm going to be doing some audio commentary, as well as showing you some behind the scenes pictures and video. So let's get started then, shall we? So the original idea for the story for this short came from my Q&A video series. I was asked, do you collect any other merchandise ranges? And I responded, not anymore, but I used to, and I do have some Wooden and Ertl Thomas and Friends characters. And I asked people whether they'd like to see some of that used in a video, because the Wooden Railway in particular is completely compatible with Tomy Track. You know, the gauge is the same, so the trains can fit on it. And people said, yeah, they were interested in that, and so I thought, how can I incorporate this into a video? And then I thought of, well, through a dream sequence, obviously, like in the new Simpsons episode, in which most of it is Lego, and it's all in Homer's head. So I thought about doing something similar to that. And initially, that was the entire short. And as I was scripting, you know, the other dream sequences came after that, basically showing you the engine's worst nightmares. So the opening title sequence, which you can see in a second, I decided that I was going to change that for this one, add a bit of a sky background and the moon, you know, just to do something a bit different. Plus it was quite easy to do because I had already edited the original image for Diesel's Ducks and Demons. So I could just take that and then put the star and the moon in the background. So you'll notice that blinking eyes have returned for this short. I've decided that in future, whilst I can incorporate them with the steam, the steam is more hassle than it's worth, so I'm gonna save that for special effects shots and not use it all the time. This particular sequence, Percy's dream, initially in the original script, it was just Edward. His worst nightmare was that he was stuck on the island and only Edward was there for company. But I thought that might be a bit stereotypical. People might see that coming, so I decided to add this little joke to the end where there's also no mail train because, you know, there's no one on Sodor to get the mail. And, you know, that turned out to be well received, I think. So this dream ditty here, the little bit of music that plays, that was done very kindly by Sudrian Afro. And I thank him very much for that, and also for allowing me to use, you know, some of his music cues, some of the little bits of music, because I think they really add something to the episode. And so, coming up now is Gordon's dream, and there was a particular shot in that in which Gordon does not have a tender. And that was a lot more difficult to get than I thought it would be. I mean, obviously, the dream is, it's an alternate universe, tank engines are tender engines, all the tender engines are tank engines. But when I unscrewed Gordon's tender, both the Japanese and the American versions, I found the wires were soldered on, and so they couldn't be removed without cutting them. So to get that shot, as you can see, I've actually composited two separate shots together. What I did was I took one of the screws out, and there was enough slack in the wire that I could then move the tender out of the way and, you know, get those two shots to composite together. So no Gordons were harmed in the making of this video, fortunately. These shots in James's sequence, you'll notice that they are exactly the same as the one at the beginning of Thomas's in terms of length and all that sort of stuff. I've tried to use my new characters as best as I can just to show them off a bit. And this was just, you know, a very quick joke that I thought up. Wouldn't it be funny if that was, you know, James's worst nightmare, if that was the worst thing he could think of, was having to shunt trucks. And so coming up now is the most popular dream sequence. This is Henry's dream. And I wanted to have a much more cinematic feel for this, and I've got some amazing music from Kevin MacLeod, who does he runs the site in Computech, I think it's called, and yeah. So the whole giant Tomy Thomas thing. For those of you who don't know, that long ago you used to be able to buy that in a big set, which came with 3 engines. Normally, I had a special edition which came with 4 engines. And for me, that was the first Tomy thing I ever got, was that set. And so this big Thomas, this was really, you know, one of the first Tomy items I ever had. The first Tomy item I ever had, really. And, you know, the whole series, all my Tomy merchandise, it all starts here. So that's a bit of deep thought for you. And those lasers, they were done in After Effects, for those of you who are wondering, and then obviously I took some fire and smoke effects and composited that over the top to get that final shot. So thank you for listening, everyone, and I hope you've gotten a good insight into the making of this short.
Time.